Kia ora koutou, welcome back. This was day 7 of my 2-week trading challenge. Just one trade today on TMDE. It was a fast-paced morning with lots of stocks on my scanner, but I stayed focused, managed my risk, and wrapped up the first week of the challenge green. So let's get into it. So TMDE did pop up before 7 initially on the spike here. I did see that, but as it pulled back quite a fair way. I didn't take an entry off the 9 EMA, just with the volume profile. Lots of red, smaller greens, and wasn't quite sure it was going to really do anything. Grinded up and then pulled back, rolled over and went below $1. And to be honest, I thought that was it for this stock. And then I went and watched RBNE, which did put in some decent moves in this session, but I didn't trade that because I missed sort of the initial move and then got a bit expensive and yeah, just didn't jump in on that one. Then I noticed that TMDE was rallying and had broken back through VWAP. So I'll just push play on the video here. This is sort of where I just come across to see it and was looking at getting in at 140, but I missed it. It popped up to 202 and then started pulling back. So really, as I shifted across to it, I should have just bought in at 144, wherever it was. But just switching across to the stock, I like to take note of what it's doing and have a bit of a read of the level 2. And was too slow to get in on that pop. It then pulled back, and there was a micro pullback entry here around 160, where I could have got in and maybe got 15 to 20 cents a share on that trade. But once again, I missed that entry and it pulled back again, and thinking it would pull back and possibly push higher, as this is the first, actual pullback on the stock. But I got in there at 165. Should have really waited, as it did pull back to around 140 again. And yeah, here it is down at 140. And that was really the better entry, to have waited for there as it's coming down to the VWAP and 9 EMA. And then it pushed back up to 166, 170. And I might just move this a bit along a bit quicker, because I didn't sell on this next candle. I didn't stop out, I held. I did think it would push back higher, but I put an order at 175. It didn't push up to that. It pulled back again to the 9 EMA, held the 9 EMA again, and you can see some buying coming back in there, that bottoming tail being brought up again. But it is pushing back lower to the 9 EMA. Still holding there though, and this is where it starts to push. And there I'm filled at 174. I did drop my sell order 1 cent. So there was that, but end of the day, happy with that. It did push back up. I got out at the high of that candle at 174, and after that it actually did pull back and go back below VWAP, I think. And that was pretty much my trade. And it was an $8.10 profit. So not a massive profit today. If I come back here, yeah, so you can see here, in at 165, out at 174, top of this candle here, and it sort of held the 9 EMA for a little bit, but didn't really push any higher, and then rolled over, and that was pretty much it. The stocks, the leading gainers on the day, HUSA put in some decent moves, but that was before sort of 6:30, and USEG was also another stock that I saw it when I started, but was pulling back as well. But RBNE, this stock was pretty impressive today. So it basically started popping around 6:30, just before 6:30, popped up from around $4 up to $5.57. And I saw it come up on my scanners around here, and I didn't really look at it until it was breaking over 550 up through 6. And, you know, it broke up to 637, and I thought, you know, I could get in here with like 20 shares maybe, but you know, it had already gone over $1 a share, and then up to six up here to about $6. I wasn't sure if it would go that much further, and with 20 shares, you know, 50 cents is $10, you know, and then if it goes a full dollar, then that's $20 profit, but it has to go a full dollar. So it always sort of puts me off trading these setups, but maybe I should just do it, because this pullback here at, you know, 650 would have been a good entry there to push back up to 7, and it went to, you know, 850, from 650 up to 850. That would have been a really good entry there at the $0.50. Right here, you know, getting in, actually I'll clear that, getting in on, you know, around 650 here for the push higher to 7, and it blasts up to 850. That would have been a great trade. But didn't get in. I did think about getting in here again around the $6.50 mark as it came down and held sort of around the 20 EMA and around VWAP. So there was some support there, and an entry here could have been around this level here, around $7 at the whole dollar, pushing up through for 8 to test this high again, which would have been a decent trade, but once again I didn't get in on that, and around that time, what was that time? Yeah. This is when I noticed that TMDE, I think, was popping back up above VWAP, and that was a price range that I preferred. So left this one alone, but it did push up to 12.29 just after 7 o'clock, and then pulled back, and then ripped again up to 12, and then basically went sideways between 9.50 and around 10.50. And then into the open again, it broke away above 10, up to a high 13.24, and even higher through the open. This just ripped up to 19. So a really strong move on that stock there. And made a high during the day at $20.50, and now obviously during after hours it's rolled over a bit. But impressive move today on RBNE. Not sure of any of the other stocks that moved. Those are the only stocks I really watched today. So if I bring up my stats, so 90 shares in on TMDE, $1.65 entry, 174 exit, and $8.10 profit on the day. So for the week, pretty much green week this week. I haven't taken fees out yet, so that will reduce that down. But green overall, and after fees, it'll still be green. So that's a decent week for me. Not massive in the profit side of things, but you know, executing my trades well and being green on each day has been really good. Although this one here around $4 after fees, that will probably be slightly red or just barely break even, barely green. So but overall the week will be green and really happy with that. So it's a good result for this week. Next week I can build on that and, you know, bring the equity curve hopefully above the red line and be back in, you know, the green for the month. So that is the plan for next week, is just to keep going in this challenge, you know, log the green days and just execute my trades well, and, you know, getting green for the month is the plan, and I'm happy with how this one wrapped up. A green day and a green week. I stayed disciplined and stuck to the rules of my challenge. Even though I missed some big movers, you know, I avoided FOMO and focused on executing well. Still slightly red on the month, but I'm okay with that. I've laid a good foundation, and if I keep this up next week, I should be able to finish the challenge in the green overall. If you're following this 2-week challenge, thanks for tagging along. I'll be back Monday with a fresh week and the same goal, 2 trades a day, trading my A+ setup. Subscribe if you haven't already, and follow along to see how week 2 plays out. I will see you next week. Hei te rā wiki.